Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool would give up a chance for a 30% discount.
It is like a dream. It was our wedding. When we turned around, everyone was dead. The stench of their bodies was horrible. Standing before me was death.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me as always is Aaron.
Peace.
This week, we're discussing the horror new classic, Nosferatu, starring Lily Rose Depp and Bill Skarsgård and Willem Dafoe and Nicholas Hoult. Is that how you say his
who's
name?
that
Hoult?
guy I hate? What's his name? Is
Which
that
one?
Nicholas Hoult?
Which one? Which character?
You know, the Jonathan.
Yeah, that's Nicholas Hoult.
Hate him. Hate him.
Why? Okay, shit. The train's going off the rails already. Why do you hate him?
I always disliked him. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but I just don't like him. I don't like him in any. I cannot tell you any movie that he has been in that I have liked his character.
About a Boy? With Hugh
When he was a
Grant?
child?
Yes, when he was a child. He's a child
Okay.
actor.
I think I saw that once and I didn't immediately want to slap a child. So I guess anything after that.
So, dude, if you see a movie with, say, an annoying child, it makes you just want to look for a child to smack? Is that what you're saying? Where's the nearest
Why
child?
smack that child. I hate child actors. I mean, let me tell you the child actors I like.
Please.
I like Shirley Temple. I like
Shirley Temple's 65 years ago. What are you talking about?
I don't like her now. I like most of the Little Rascals.
Froggy?
Even, I mean, Robert Blake. I love Little Robert Blake. Not so much later Robert Blake.
Okay, fair.
So I like
you should have known.
Sense, and I like Kieran Culkin. I mean, is there anyone else?
Did you like him when he was a child, or do you just like him now?
I liked him when he was a child, and I like him now.
In what? In what were you loving Kieran Culkin in as a child?
He was always in the background of all his brother's movies, bebopping around.
He did some shit as a child where he was the star.
Pilgrim. He was young.
Yes, he was in some things when he was a child, no question. I'm just asking if you know what any of them are. You can't just say.
I don't like child stars.
Fair.
For the most part. I don't like child stars of this century.
You know, what's interesting. What's interesting is Jackie Coogan, who was Perry White in the Christopher Reeve. He was a little rascal. I didn't realize that. He was Perry White in the Christopher Reeve Superman movies from the 80s. And he was a little rascal.
Knew that. Everybody knew that.
I was a child. How would I have known what the hell was happening?
I was a mere fetus at the time.
Anyway, each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, other than your hatred for children everywhere, what's going on with you?
Have you ever tried these functional seltzers? They don't have booze and they don't have weed. It's just like some kind of witchcraft, and it's twice the price of beer. And you can only get it at stupid places like Sprouts.
Do you realize this is the 5th time you've mentioned your frickin' functional seltzers on the show? Do you own stock
Because
in
every
the shit?
time I wish I did, because then I wouldn't have to pay so much. Because I think about it when I go to get one. So I've had one 5 times on the show. So I always think about, I need to get more of these. This is watermelon lime. It's super refreshing and very relaxing.
And you're saying it does not have weed in it. It does not have booze in it.
You don't have to show ID to buy it.
So it's not like what's that stuff? Sambucha. What's it called?
Sambuca.
Sambuca.
No, Sambuca is an alcohol. That's like that.
What am I thinking of?
Kombucha. You can buy hard kombucha, or if you leave your kombucha out in the sun, it will ferment.
How long do you have to leave it out in the sun before it ferments?
I don't know, like a week, and then it starts bubbling. I don't know exactly what the thaline. I don't know what kind of witchery they put in here. Lion's mane.
I was going to say that. Lion's mane. I'm sure. It's all lion's mane.
I actually bought like a lion's mane, and I sliced it up and I sauteed it. I'm like, it didn't really taste that good, and I didn't feel super relaxed. So maybe that's not the way to do it.
You're talking about the fungus, not the actual mane of a African lion.
No, I meant the mane of the actual lion. I got it on Temu. Do you think that's about right?
That ain't real. That ain't real.
No, but I got a Birkin there for $12. Is that not right either? Well,
a Birkin? You got a Birkin there?
I got a Birkin for my Birkin.
Sweet Jesus. Good Lord. Help us all.
I ran into our friends from the Gag Me with the Chainsaw on Fat Tuesday. I waved to them.
How are they doing?
I don't know. I didn't talk to them, but I did realize the person who talked to me at X, who I wasn't sure who they were, was actually one of those girls. I have the worst memory for faces. It was literally our cousin going, "That's the chick from the podcast. That's who must have talked to you at the X concert." I was like, "Oh, damn, you're right. She did seem to know me." Womp womp.
Aaron, why don't we get the train back on the tracks, and why don't you give us the 30-second synopsis of Nosferatu?
It's exactly what you think it is. It is the story of Dracula, but he's jacked up and not sexy. So it's like the original. And apparently he gives you a quivering orgasm that sends you into a scene. But as far as, and Bill Skarsgård is wasted. That could have been anybody in a fucking weird Vlad the Impaler costume. Whatever.
You're not supposed to review it yet. Just give us the synopsis.
That's my 30-second. That's my 30-second. It's exactly what you think it is. It is the same old fucking story. Whether you saw it as Count Orlok, whether it was Nosferatu or Dracula, it is the same fucking story. A count wants to go and buy some property. So we got to send the dude to go with the paperwork, who ends up getting fed upon. Meanwhile, the count skips ahead to go get his lady friend. She tricks him. He sees the sun. He turns crunchy. I mean, it is basically, what is it? The Mark of the Vampire. What was the one with the
Shadow of the Vampire?
Shadow of the Vampire. I mean, it even has William Dafoe in it. It had half the cast from that. Quite frankly, that one was better. That one was. I gotta say, that one was better. The original might have been better. Because at least you had all that cool German expressionism.
Right.
If you say anything about the original silent film, is the sets are banging. And they did do some of the carryovers from that. The the hand of death that swept across, this time it's Germany and not England, but the vampire's hands over the town, and meanwhile people are dying. I mean, that's from the original, but
Okay. Good to
it's
know.
the vampire tale. He didn't cross oceans for her. I'm not even really sure what their relationship.
No, that's strange. Let's go back, because the original Nosferatu was directed by F.W. Murnau in like the heyday of the German film
Yeah.
era. Like there was, I've talked about this before, that back in the 20s, it was kind of a race between Germany and the US who was going to be the movie superpower, if you will. They were,
And
and it was neck and
especially in
neck.
the silent era, I mean, it's universal. Everybody's reading
Absolutely.
subtitles back in the day. There was
Absolutely.
no one crying. All the movies had subtitles.
They did. 100%.
I'm guessing more people knew how to read.
You'd think. You would hope. But who's to say?
Right.
But, so he wanted to, F.W. Murnau wanted to do Dracula. He wanted to make a movie about Dracula. The estate of Bram Stoker, and I believe it was actually his wife, was still kicking and said, hell to the no. You'll get nothing and like it. And they said, cool, we'll create our own. And we'll call him Count Orlok, and we'll change the names, but the plot is basically the same. And that's what they did. And that's what they did.
And what, the estate of Bram Stoker, it wasn't enough money? What was it? Do you know why they didn't want to do it? Because certainly later on, they did do it.
Later on, they changed their mind. I don't know if it was what their issue was, honestly. Maybe I could do a Google search, but I'm not going to. But there was it could have been money. It could have been just, I don't know about all this newfangled motion picture stuff. Who knows what the thought process was?
Well, somebody knows.
It's lost in antiquity, as far as I know.
It's antiquity.
He did the movie, and then within 10 years, I think you had Bela Lugosi's version of Dracula in the United States. But what's interesting,
but he was doing that on stage first.
He was. It was a play. It was a play called Dracula that was out and about. That they basically changed the play into the movie, and there are differences between the play and the book. Like they're different character. Like Dr. Seward in the book is one of the guys who's interested in Lucy and wants to marry her. In the play and in Bela Lugosi's, Dr. Seward is like Mina's father. There's like there's a weird, they just mix, they're like, F it. We don't need 30 different characters in here. If you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola version, which adds a lot of crazy shit that's not in the book, they do...
Not Andy Warhol's Dracula.
Not Blood for Dracula. That's a whole different kettle of fish. But if you watch Francis Ford Coppola's movie, that has all of the characters. It has Dr. Seward. It has Lord... Oh, what the hell's his name? Arthur Holmwood. Oh, it was not Lord Bottomley. Arthur Holmwood. Because there's three guys who were vying for Lucy's affection, who wanted to marry her. It was Dr. Seward, who ran the insane asylum. It was Arthur Holmwood, who was the Lord, who was like, come from good stock, handsome, dashing guy. And there was Quincy Morris, who was a Texan, who was around she had a big old Bowie knife and doing Texas shit, which is kind of interesting. None of the other versions had these characters, even though they're in the book. So that's neither here nor there.
I read the book 1,000 years ago, so I don't really remember. I remember it being kind of boring.
Now, what they tried to do in Francis Ford Coppola's version is, because the book is told through phonograph recordings and letters, and They try to do that in Francis Ford Coppola's movie, but that's neither here nor there. They actually, sitting down to watch this, in my mind, it's Dracula, right? So I was a little shook when Jonathan Harker is sent to Transylvania, the Carpathians, to meet with the Count, and his name's not Jonathan Harker. It's Thomas Hutter. I'm like, even though I knew, that was more in going with the original Nosferatu.
It is the same damn story. They just changed the name to protect the guilty
and the innocent. But what's interesting is they did do the Klaus Kinski Nosferatu with Isabelle Adjani. I think it was in 79 or 80 thereabouts.
Dude, it's like the original. It's not like it looks like the original.
It looks like almost exactly like the original, but it's Count Dracula. It's Mina. It's like they gave it the original name, so it's not Count Orlok, the Klaus Kinski version. Although he's got the teeth and shit.
Yeah.
Right. So,
scary Dracula.
He's got the scary.
I always said they need to, and I think they tried to do that here, but they were not successful. They need to show Dracula as being effed up and jacked up, and yet women are still compelled and drawn to him. They tried to do that here, but not very well. There was too much costumey.
Right. Well, I think the idea is that it started with Bela Lugosi. It was this I'm sassy. I'm sassy, and I give you the hand, and
I know it. Yeah,
I'm too sassy. Right. He looks at you and gives you the look, and that's his move. Yeah. Now, most other Draculas throughout the time, Dracula was not sassy, right? He was just, right. That's what they were going for. So it's just interesting to see all the different versions.
In the Gary Oldman, he was a little jacked up and crunchy at the old house until he sipped on Jonathan, and then he freshened up. So I kept waiting for this one to freshen up. Why are you wasting a Skarsgård on this role? Ridiculous.
He's the ugly Skarsgård, is what I was trying to say. The only Skarsgård that could play Pennywise and Nosferatu. He's not.
No, they're spinning him. Oh no, they had all the gang from Pennywise movie going, Bill's sexy.
Bullshit.
They're putting it out. They're putting it out. Everybody else is getting long on the tooth, so Bill's getting the action now. Dude, just go on TikTok. There's so much Bill Skarsgård love right now.
Look, he is definitely working more than Alexander. And you could argue maybe he's a better actor than Alexander. Alexander is a strapping, 6'3", chiseled, Nordic good looks. Bill
he is a Nordic god. He is a Nordic god. What do you want to say to it?
But he can't get arrested. You know what I'm saying? At Times Square, he's like, please turn the camera. People are like, no thanks. We want your freaky brother and everything. However,
we want your freaky brother. But I mean, he was amazing, of course, as Eric Northman in True Blood.
Yes.
And he was a monster in, what the f***?
What's the one about Big Little Lies? Is that what it was?
Big Little Lies. Big Little Lies. And in between the two, there is nothing. There's only Bill now.
There is no Dana. There's only Zool.
There is only Zool. Alec is now down to like tasting salty licorice with cold sores, co-stars.
Or cold sores. I've heard it both ways.
He had no cold sores because he is beautiful.
So
he's not on Sister Wives. That's cold sore central.
You didn't see this in the theater though, did you?
No.
I saw it on TV.
I subscribed to some bullshit so I could watch it.
Correct. Yeah, that was me as well. I wanted to go see it, and there was a time where it's like, maybe I'll rush out because my wife ain't seeing this with me. She ain't going to go see no damn Nosferatu shit, especially this version.
Did
Because
you tell her Bill Skarsgård's in it?
that was reason enough to stay away, as far as she's concerned. Why don't we jump right into the highlights? Because I was kind of confused as to what the hell is happening in this movie. Because the credits roll, and there she is. I guess she's a somnambulist. She's sleepwalking. And then there's a crazy, like, zombie coming at her. And I guess that was that Nosferatu even then?
She was a lonely child and she willed this evil spirit. This sounds like one of those 90s things that parents would say to kids who were playing Dungeons and Dragons. See what happens? See what happens when you will these things? You bring the presents to you. She was she had the ennui. She was a depressed child and no one would touch her, so she would rattle around on the ground, summoning dark spirits to F her in the mud, I guess. No wonder her father didn't want to touch her. I'd be like, ew.
Well, because that's the thing. So it's
off
like,
to the nunnery with you, bad spirit.
It's like she's young and there's some kind of weird, because that's the thing. Count Orlok, now in the the German version from 100 years ago, he was a creepy, like, long fingernail. He was not a sessy.
With a hunchback.
Hunchback, big old hawk nose, crazy eyebrows, big old ears. He's a monster. So this movie was kind of like, we're going back to that, where it's literally like he's a zombie. He's like, when they zoom in on him, he's like decayed and gross and twisted. But there's still that I've crossed oceans and time to find you bullshit. So they're trying to have it both ways.
It was a weird thing because it didn't really seem like a love story. It's just, I am drawn to your blood. I need to drink your blood. It's not, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. It's not, I love you. We've been secretly midnight astral projection effing. And now I can't stay away from your blood.
Right.
There's no, like, we were lovers in a past life and now our stuff crossed paths. There's nothing romantic about it.
Well, he even says, I'm incapable of love. But it's like he has to possess her. He has to have her in that kind of way.
And it's not, when he finally gets her, it's not that they're having sex.
It's hard to say because they're naked in that final. She's bone naked. So
she's bone naked, but he ain't doing much besides latching in.
Well, they kind of made out a little bit. That was her thing, because that's goddamn this movie. So let's reel it back in a little bit. She's now an adult, and she's married to Thomas Hutter. But they established that she basically has, I don't know, night terrors or
visions,
conniption fits. She's constantly having episodes, but it seems like
her husband something bad was going to happen because she saw the vision what was going to happen, and he's like, "You got to get over yourself." She's like, "Yeah, you're right," and then just let him go off, and then she's like, "He's coming now."
The issue is he essentially married a crazy person. Mm-hmm. He married an insane asylum escapee, essentially. But
dude, men do that all the time. They think
absolutely.
That's hot. They think it's hot. I'm going to save you, plus you're crazy, so we're going to have hot sex.
100%. If you're crazy in the street, maybe you'll be crazy in the sheets.
Crazy in the sheets.
That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. So the feeling is that she's been kind of on the upswing recently. So when she starts having her episodes, he's like rolling his eyes, going, "Oh, God damn it! Really? We're back to this shit again." But
how would he know? Because They certainly wouldn't have been living together before they got married, and they just got married.
I think she's the village insane person. I think
But you
that's
were
what
gonna
it
say
was.
the village idiot. She's the
But
village idiot.
that's basically what it was.
She's mighty purdy.
The, which is debatable. I don't know. I mean, not. I hate to be so critical, but she's got kind of very angular features. It's like the weirdest qualities of Johnny Depp, because Johnny Depp's a handsome guy, and the mom was like a French
Johnny
model
Depp,
or something.
yeah. And they're all pixies. So this person must be as tall as Billy Barty. But I thought she was very attractive. She's like got that paper white skin and jet black hair and those big eyes like her mom.
She just doesn't do it for me. She doesn't do it for me. No offense, Lily Rose, if you're listening. But so Thomas Hutter has got to go to Carpathians because why is this? In the original Dracula, why does Dracula be like, I need to buy some property 1,000 miles away just for fun?
It's the same reason. They are going to meet this person.
No, I understand why they have to go to Dracula or to Count Orlok, but why is Count Orlok saying, "Send me your agent because I like to speculate in real estate"? Is that what it is?
Dude, he's buying property. What do you think he's gonna roll up, all scars guarded out, like the shiny?
Why is he buying property? Is my question.
Because he needs privacy for a sex dungeon. There's no Airbnb, you know. What do you want him to do? He's buying property.
He lives in a goddamn castle in the Carpathian Mountains in Transylvania.
But he gotta go somewhere else. She ain't coming to him. You know, that's not proper. Gentlemen's gotta go to the ladies for the raping and the draining.
Okay. Oh, sweet Jesus. You took a turn there. What I'm asking, yes. In Francis Ford's movie, I've crossed oceans and time to find you. And in this movie, there's that kind of, I was lonely and I called out to you and you found me kind of shit.
I had the melancholia.
So now here's my question. All of the movies have kind of a Renfield type character as well. I mean,
that are all treated terribly by the vampire.
Right, because it's my master. This movie has a different kind of flair to it, because this is the first time where it's like you see a character where there's a lot of drooling and a lot of like spitum, if you will, a lot of vomiting and like there's a lot of like Sam Raimi vomit work in this movie.
Because no one vomited into someone else's mouth. That is the mark of a Raimi.
That is true. I stand corrected.
There are no maggots just spilling into my open mouth as I just sit there with my mouth open in a silent scream.
She posted on social media. Somebody had posted like the scene where she's constantly getting stuff. And she was just like, oh, God. Why'd you remind me that I was in that movie? Poor Alison Lohman.
That was a beautiful movie.
Another, like, I tell my kids there are certain actors that I have met in my life, in my trials. And one of them is Tobey Maguire, who I went to middle school with. And the other is Alison Lohman, who was in, Drag Me to Hell, but she was in a few other things. We were in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet together. So there you go.
And who are you?
I was Mercutio, arguably the heart and soul of that movie. So there you go.
So there you have it.
A character so powerful that it had to be killed early. That's because they didn't want him stealing the show. That's the feeling.
Just like Psycho, you're Janet Leigh.
100%. That's what I tell people. I'm just like Janet Leigh. But so, and we kind of glossed over it. So Renfield, every time you see him, he's like biting the head off a pigeon or something, and then just drooling on himself.
Correct me, am I wrong?
Please.
Did I have a moment? Is Renfield his boss who sent him on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, wait a minute.
That's how it is in Nosferatu. That is not how it is in the Dracula movies. In Dracula movies, Renfield, I believe, I guess it depends. In the original Dracula, see how I'm doing this. The original Dracula, Renfield is the first guy they send to talk to Dracula, and then he goes insane because of seeing Dracula do his shit. So then they send Jonathan Harker to kind of clean up the mess. I think in the book, Renfield's just an insane person in Dr. Seward's asylum, who, because he's crazy, is more attuned to the beckonings of Dracula. Okay. So, but you're right. In Nosferatu, he is Jonathan Harker's boss, who sends him specifically because he's already under the spell of Count Orlok. Right.
Because they need him out of the way.
Yes.
That's really it.
Well, yeah. Well, they send him. I think they send him there to die. And honestly, it's like in all the other movies, there's kind of a little bit of an interplay initially when Harker, or in this case Hutter, show up to the Dracula's castle, Count Orlok's castle, and kind of like, yeah, I'm here to do some work. Yeah, hey, I know I look like a vampire. Pay that never mind. Why don't we sign some papers and get out before eventually dropping the hammer on Harker. This one, he cuts his finger with cutting some bread. It's don't you use like a butter knife to cut a bread? Do you have to use like a freaking serrated ginsu?
And they do that in Dracula too, and that gives Dracula the bone here. So he's like, "Yeah, let me take care of that for you, son."
But that's the thing. It's like that first night, basically Harker's just left passed out in the front room. Dracula Orlok doesn't even put him in his room. He's just like, "F it, sleep here. I'm drinking your blood. I'll hit up with you later." Basically,
yeah, could care less. And I would think, I mean, as an agent, you don't sign things that you can't read.
You'd think.
How about that?
You think? Who's to say? Because I think he's meant to be a lawyer. So they send him there.
Something along those lines. A state agent. So maybe that's some kind of lawyery legal.
Right.
It's legally. So they're killing two birds with one stone. One, they get the paperwork taken care of. Then I guess Dracula just swings by the post office on his way out of town, drops that in the box. He gets to feed on Ding Dong Daddy-O on his way out, but he doesn't do a good job because he doesn't finish him.
What's interesting, and maybe this is true from the original Nosferatu as well, in the Dracula movies, Dracula has like the brides of Dracula who live in the castle with him. Right. And then when he goes to London, he turns Lucy into a vampire. In the Nosferatu movies, if my memory serves, there's no other vampires but Count Orlok. He doesn't turn anybody else into a vampire. He just sucks their blood and kills them, essentially.
Right. Well, Mina, in one of them, it turns, kills her, and she turns. I like to think the brides of Dracula are just his ex-wives. So go look to your futures, ladies. Look to your futures.
100%. Absolutely. If he liked it, he would have put a ring on it. It's basically straight up. He's just not that into you.
He's into you right this moment.
Right. What is it? I'm not looking for Miss Right. I'm looking for Miss Right now.
Boom. Boom.
Right.
I mean, that's at least as he says, I can't even feel love.
Right. He absolutely says that. Now, so when in the Dracula movies, he turns Lucy, because Lucy's the one who originally is like, oh shit, because she's the one who's getting bit all the time, who's weak and in the bed, and they have to go fetch Van Helsing to help Lucy, because Mina's like, oh shit, what's going on? In the Nosferatu movies, you've got, this movie, half the movie is the vomit from Renfield. The other half is frickin', her name's not Mina in the Nosferatu movie. And Frank, I don't remember.
We're just going to call her Mina.
Call her Mina.
Who she is.
In this movie, it is nonstop kind of, I'm having a seizure. Every 5 minutes.
A very special seizure.
It's well, not always. Not always. I wish it's a lot of I'm having an episode. It's just like this must happen a dozen times over the course of this movie. Where it's like rictus, where she's like gag her with a spoon, literally. It's like, what is wrong with you? Nonstop.
They're chloroforming her to keep her in the house.
Tied her to her bed.
Tied her to her bed. I mean, blah, 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 blah.
Right. It's a whole thing. It was, frankly, like annoying more than anything else.
All right. I'm backing it up because once again, as we see in every one of these horror movies, the woman knows what's going on, tells her husband, and he says, don't you worry your little mind. So that's probably why she's like, well, him. Adios, motherfucker. Off to Count Orlok you go. I just processed that.
She was having seizures and night terrors, and was generally, let's just say, a narrator that would be difficult to trust. An untrustworthy narrator. Let's just say that.
But he doesn't really know that because they just got married. So it would have been, they literally got married, and the next day he gets the notice he has to leave. So it's not like they have this history that she's running naked through the fields, shivering and quivering, because they were talking about that happened when she was young.
Okay. If you say so.
Again, the woman spoke the truth, and the men were like, nah. Next thing, this was like a 6-week adventure for him to get out to Carpathia to get this. And he just rode a horse the whole day.
Rode a goddamn horse!
And in one day, he got to the village of the damned, and the next day, he was at Dracula's house.
Right. It makes no goddamn sense.
Your ass would have been crippled from sitting on a goddamn horse for 6 weeks.
Well, they steal his horse.
And then the freaks steal his horse. Do they not have, like, carriages? Has TV and movies led me astray?
How used to do that.
How do people get around?
They look in the old Hammer Dracula movies. Peter Cushing would pull up in a carriage right outside of town. It wasn't like he gets on the horse. And this is literally because in this story, it's not London. It's a place called like Wisberg, which is not a real place in Germany.
Yeah.
So he gets, do a little Googling. How far is Germany from Romania?
By horse.
It'll take you some time.
Symbols on Google?
Well, and that's the other thing. It's like later when Count Orlok is like, I'm going to Wisberg, Germany from Transylvania. He gets on a boat. What body of water is he taking?
I'm guessing he's going through the Mediterranean, going up and around. I don't know.
Is that how the Mediterranean does not go up and around? By the way,
no. You're gonna go out through Malta, come through France. To get to Germany,
you have to go around Spain, and you have to go by England, and go because you're going. Whatever. This is ridiculous.
Are you saying they're going to go all the way up through the North Sea? Like they're circling all around? Because in the original Dracula, he arrives via the water to England too.
Correct. It is. It makes more sense, honestly, than going through to England from Transylvania, but. Going through Germany, you think it would be quicker just to jump on his horse at that stage of the game, since it's just running free. It's one of those magical horses from Krull, evidently. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But when and I think, again, I keep saying this is similar to the original Nosferatu. When the boat arrives, wherever it is, all the rats spill out of the boat. And it's like a plague ship, essentially. And that's what's afflicting basically everybody in town. Everybody's being bitten by plague rats. Go ahead, Aaron. Educate us.
If I was to walk there from central Germany to the Carpathian Mountains, according to Google, it is only 13 days, but I'm guessing there's no rest during that time.
Very good. Well, there you go. I guess that answers the question.
I click bus and it says can't find a way there. I click bicycle, can't find a way there.
By bicycle.
It is 21 hours by car. So,
okay. What about by boat? How about that?
Oh yeah, I should put that in.
By boat.
Not an option. Neither is flying. Good job, Google.
Sweet Jesus.
No such thing. You have to either walk. No, that's all.
Or drive. You can walk. Well, they didn't have cars back then, so I guess you could go horseback. So evidently, it all makes perfect sense. I think we can all come to the bottom of that. So there's a scene. We kind of jumped by it.
It's about 1,000 miles. How about that? And there's 2 alerts according to Google, so there's some traffic.
You could not walk 1,000 miles in 13 days.
I was exaggerating. It's 900 miles. Are you saying that there's something wrong with Google?
Well, my question to you is, whenever it's a question of walking, is the idea like you're the Terminator or It Follows, where you just continue walking 24 hours a day?
Has to be. Has to be no breaks, right? 13 days, 5 hours. You're going to swing by lovely Krakow and end up in some place called Shishnia. Oh, and then you're in Odessa in Ukraine. Right on.
Wait a minute. Central Germany to Poland does not seem to be on the way to Germany to Romania. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, if you're in Germany and you want to take human roads, I guess you're limited.
As a crow flies.
It's not as the vampire flies. You have to take existing roads.
I see. Well, there you go. There you have it. Anyway, there was a scene where Mina, we're going to call her Mina, has an episode in front of Thomas Hutter. She's spazzing out, and he kind of grabs her, says like, get it together. And she was like, she makes some comment like, the vampire gives it to me better than you do, like challenges his manhood. So he promptly throws her on the bed, pulls off his pants, and they get down to biz. She was just in a fugue state.
Dude, she needed her medicine.
It was like awakening.
She needed her vitamin D.
She needed her L-Dopa. That's what it was. Where she was literally having an episode, and so that they're having sex. Like, oh God!
It's only a matter of time. I could already tell. Like within a year, he's going to be asking her to pee on him. So they're on their way.
They're on their way. Now, at some point, the doctor's like, you know what? I am flummoxed by this whole situation. We need to bring in my former mentor, who's now a disgraced, disbarred doctor from Switzerland, Dr. Van Franz.
Van Fransing?
It was Franzia. Von Franz? I don't remember what the hell. It was some kind of crazy. It wasn't Van Helsing, though.
He's like some kind of fucking alchemist. He's over there still trying to turn base metals into gold. Yes. But he's got a cure for what ails you. He's got some vitamin D too, I guess.
A shot right in the ass. And this is Willem Dafoe at his finest, because we
love Willem Dafoe.
We love Willem Dafoe. And what's funny, whenever I think of Willem Dafoe, I read this article. He was in this movie that required him to show full frontal nudity. And his dick is so huge, it was distracting. And they made him wear a prosthetic of more normal human proportions.
They're all tie it up, brother. Tie it up.
They're like, what the first time he walked on set, it was a record scratch moment. It was like, what the everybody like dropped what they were doing and audibly gasped.
Like, here I am, boys.
Absolutely. If that was me, I would insist every movie have full frontal nudity. Right?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but some men are showers and some men are growers.
No,
maybe
some men are showers.
Maybe the turtle crawls back into a shell when he gets excited.
Some men are showers, some men are liars. Is really what it is. That's the cold hard reality. Cold and not that hard.
I'm sure a man came up with that whole thing.
Baby, I'm a grower. I'm a grower. Take my word for it. Anywho, that's not here or there. But this Willem Dafoe, when he appears on the scene, this is where it's a lot of close-ups.
I wanted to mention that I believe
Please.
Rasputin made an appearance in the small village in the Carpathians. I was pretty sure that was Rasputin. Didn't he come from there?
I think he was Russian.
Yeah,
his name's Rasputin.
It's all Russian-ish.
Russian-esque.
Russian-esque. And I wrote down some quotes. So if I give you a quote, you have to tell me who said it.
Okay, lay it on me.
Isaac Newton would crawl back in his mother's womb. Who said that?
that was Willem Dafoe. Yeah, I wrote that. Yeah, another one?
No, that was it.
That was the one?
I thought it was another quote, but it was just a thought. I thought she had to come back on her own will. The whole vampire thing was she had to come to him in her own will, but that's not what the movie did. He started killing everyone around her until she volunteered. That's not her coming of her own will.
That's extortion. That's blackmail. That does not count.
That's right. That does not count. So it is ridiculous. Like 1 minute after saying that, then he's like, everyone you love is going to die until you come. That's not free will.
I will say one thing. That scene where the Lucy equivalent hears her annoying children crying and banging and she runs in there because she can't wake up Aaron Taylor Johnson, her husband. And she sees Nosferatu sucking one kid dry, thump, sucking the other one dry, thump. I was like, oh shit. That was serious business. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No. Oh my God. It reminded me of Jude the Obscura. Oh, when they killed all the children. No.
I don't know what that is. What's that?
Oh, it's some Thomas Hardy, goddamn depressing show about these people that are a little too related, went and had all these children. The townspeople came when they were out and killed all their children. It was horrible. Lovely. And of course I saw it when I was postpartum. So Jude Law's in it, in Jude the Obscura, and I spit in his face if I ever see him again.
Was it named after his experiences?
Maybe so. So don't watch that movie, Jude the Obscura.
There's definitely a list of movies that I will never watch. There's certain movies I've never seen, but I hear just enough about them that I go like, no, that's a hard pass. That's like the Human Centipede. That's the Serbian film. I ain't doing any of that stuff. No thanks. No. I do have standards, ladies and gentlemen. Sweet Jesus. What else you got?
Oh, it's not him. It's Christopher Eccleston and Kate Winslet. Eccleston and Kate Winslet as the way too related people.
Too close.
It's an all-star cast. Never watch it. Ever.
Don't you worry. Sweet Lord. Any other thoughts about this crazy film?
All right. Let me see here. I already said I like the hand shadow coming
Yep.
across. That was very cool. They did not invent that. Uh, so back to Bill Skarsgård. His whole acting is just that wheezing.
That was a weird choice. Why is he wheezing? Why is it a wheezy
Is
character?
it too damn from the castle? He's got the asthma. Because then her fucking husband at the end is all. I was like, "Ugh." Maybe it's a Carpathian venereal disease that's been passed on, and now her creepy husband's got it.
Well, they were trying to, because they changed the look of Count Orlok from any kind of Dracula or Orlok that we've ever seen. They said that, and this is like kind of behind the scenes, that they basically thought about how noble people of 100 years ago in frickin' Romania would have dressed.
He looked
And
like, try to make him look like fucking Vlad the Impaler if he had caught on fire.
well, and that's the other thing where it's like, traditionally in these movies, Dracula doesn't have a mustache, but they figured this guy from that time absolutely would have had a big old crazy, some kind of facial hair going on. So
you know
they
what
made a
else he
point
would
to
have
do that.
had? Skin on his back. So if all that fell off, wouldn't that old shitty old handlebar mustache, like he's one of the fucking Doobie Brothers, would have crusted off over time?
Look, he's taking it to the streets, okay?
Taking it to the streets.
Oh, black water, keep on rolling.
Oh, Black Sea,
Keep on shining on me. Anyway, should we go behind the scenes, or do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I like the ending of The Shadow of the Vampire. The girl didn't die, but they did dope her up on morphine to let what's his name, Willem Dafoe as the Count, just like suck on her until the sun melted him.
Well, because
that's that ending better.
That's the thing is like basically we can't kill this guy. The only thing that we can do is basically sacrifice the main female character in this movie. Basically, she has to say, "Drink away, Count," as the cock's crowing outside her window. And then you think if you're a vampire, you're like, look, I've been around the block.
Far?
Right.
Yeah, how you make it this far, mother effer?
You would.
What's happening?
100%. You'd be like, I know when the sun's about to rise. So I know I make sure that I'm in a safe place long before that happens. I'm not going to be caught out unawares, except in this case, evidently. So, who knows? And she's dead. She's dead at the end of the movie. He is, I think in the original Nosferatu, he like goes, ah, and then he kind of just disappears, basically, from the sun. And I don't remember if she's dead or not. I know in Shadow of the Vampire, I think she is dead. He sucks her dry.
I can't remember. She was all heroined out anyway.
Heroin chic.
They like doped her. It wasn't exactly her volunteering for this.
Well, and she was a bitch, so it's okay. I guess
I think that was their reasoning.
That was their reasoning.
And Malkovich is in it, so you just do whatever Malkovich and Willem Dafoe say. You're like, if Malkovich said, then we're doing it. Let's go.
And Nicolas Cage was one of the producers of Shadow of the Vampire, so all the more reason. Anything else, or should we move on?
Not a fucking thing.
Okay, behind the scenes. The exteriors of Orlok's castle were filmed at Hunedoara Castle, known as Corvin Castle in Romania, located in Transylvania. So there you go.
Okay.
According to Bill Skarsgård, his voice was the aspect of the part that he worked hardest at, spending 6 weeks before shooting, not doing much else except record himself, and then he did these exercises to help him lower his voice.
Honestly, anyone could have done that role. There was nothing special about it.
Well, that's. I mean, honestly, I don't disagree. I think he made some interesting choices.
And prosthetics.
And deep voices. and the crazy accents.
You see, I could have done
You are Nosferatu.
it.
Yeah, he trained with an opera coach to lower his voice an octave to make the voice that count as deep as possible. So there you go.
Wow.
The snow used in this movie was not computer generated. He used a technique, the director used a technique where they used frozen potato flakes, just like they did back in the 40s, to simulate snow.
You know what else they have? They have snow machines, and you can film in the winter. Have we considered
Can't do that. Can't
Snow
do it.
in Big Bear right now.
There was actually a common practice of using what they called snow candles back in the day. You'd light it and it would kind of have flakes, but they were deadly. Toxic gas was emitted.
It was made out of asbestos and witchcraft.
Absolutely. In an interview with Variety, director Robert Eggers explained that the design for Orlok deliberately went back to folklore and the culture of Orlok's home region.
The thing with the horse and digging up the vampires, because I've seen that before. Where did I see that, Kevin? There was another movie or something I read or a TV show.
Oh, you're talking about Subspecies. Subspecies.
Is it Subspecies?
Absolutely.
Where you have the virgin on the horseback, and if the horse gets upset, you got to dig up that grave because that's where the vampire is. I mean, honestly, I think I listened to the Lore podcast, and I think it's straight out of that. So, I mean, I at least appreciated that was like a real thing. But I don't know, the village of Rasputin, I don't know.
No,
Rasputin.
Rasputin. No. I found it especially important that the virgin just be like a knockout and bone naked on the horse. I think that's very important part of the folklore. No question.
It definitely was required.
The word Nosferatu is of uncertain origin. They thought that Bram Stoker learned about it from an 1885 article on Transylvanian superstition. And the previous usage is a German article on vampires from 1865. Both sources claim the word is Romanian, but the term has no meaning in that language. So, unclear. Bill Skarsgård was originally cast as Thomas Hutter. However, during the film's long pre-production, the director decided to recast Skarsgård as Count Orlok. In an interview, he said that he felt the casting was to make the sexual subtext between Orlok and the victims even more convincing. Did you feel that there was
what it was is it wasn't working out, but he wanted to keep Bill.
You're right. He was too hideous to play the role of the romantic lead.
First of all, I don't think he's hideous.
He's a hideous monster.
That is, you recast it all of a sudden? No.
Unclear.
That means there was nothing going. There was nothing going on, or his acting was shit. That doesn't make any sense. All right, instead of having the role where people can physically identify you and you can actually have lines, instead we're gonna cover up your mouth with a bunch of latex, and all you're gonna do is wheeze. Yeah, that sounds like a promotion to me. This is spin.
He is the titular character. That's all I'm saying.
But nobody gives a shit. That's like saying that Star Wars, the titular character is R2-D2, but who gives a No one's gonna see you. No one's gonna stop you in the street. They're like, who's the guy inside the box? That's who I want.
What's in the box? Whenever we talk about could be. Whenever we talk about Star Wars, I always think back to the fact that there was actually an actor inside R2-D2.
Yes.
A little person that they crammed in there and just who knows what he did. What did he do?
He was bad. He was bad and needed to be punished.
The preparation for his role as Count Orlok was reportedly so intense that Bill Skarsgård stated that it was the one role where he's ever truly terrified himself. And he would never play a role as evil as this one again.
Also spin. He's never going to go sit in a makeup chair for 15 hours again, is what I'm hearing.
You may be right.
I'm not getting on set at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning to read 30 minutes of lines and be 15 hours of makeup. That's if I heard. To quote like Michael Keaton in the original Good Batman, complaining about Jack Nicholson. Him, I think is what it was. He gets to show up 30 minutes before, they smear some white makeup on, and they're bolting me into a thing where I can't even take a leak.
Bolting him in. Let's look at the cast and crew, shall we?
Do it.
Directed by Robert Eggers. You know him
the whole
from such
seizure thing I found irritating.
Oh, it was totally
Robert Eggers going down a peg. I mean, a good vibration is fine, but like a full blown over and over and over, boring.
No, I don't disagree. Robert Eggers, known for The Lighthouse in 2019.
Never saw that. Will I like that?
I haven't seen it.
All right.
He directed, of course, Nosferatu in 2024, The Witch in 2015, which I haven't seen.
I don't remember liking it. I remember seeing that at the theater, but I can't remember anything about it. Our sister called and said we need to do The Witch.
Add it to the list. And he did The Northman in 2022.
Also did not say. Eric Northman?
I'd say Eric Northman. Let's see. Lily Rose Depp played Ellen Hutter, Mina.
I thought she was great.
She's fine.
My brother hates her because she's tiny.
That's 100% what the issue is. You know her from Nosferatu in 2024. She was in The King in 2019. She was in Tusk in 2014.
No, unfamiliar.
And Yoga Hosers in 2016. She did a bunch of... No. She did a bunch of Kevin Smith movies. Tusk and Yoga Hosers are Kevin Smith movies.
That's too bad. No, she did a fine job in this.
Nicholas Hoult played Thomas Hutter. You know him, Thomas Dolby. You know him from About a Boy in 2002, Mad Max Fury Road in 2015, Warm Bodies in 2013, and X-Men Days of Future Past in 2014.
I think I saw him in that, and I don't care. Don't like him.
He's like the hardest working man in show business. He is all over the place.
That's because he knows his days are numbered. He's got pocket the lolly.
Seems like he's doing all right. Bill Skarsgård.
It's an illusion.
He played Count Orlok. You know him also from It. He played Pennywise. It Chapter 2, still playing Pennywise. Nosferatu in 2024, and Barbarian in 2022, playing Keith. Remember Barbarian?
I love Barbarian.
Barbarian was great.
That wasn't nominated for a fucking Academy Award. Did you see the meme I sent you where it was, what's her name for Hereditary, passing Demi Moore, talking about who should have won the Academy Award?
Sad but true.
Because Demi Moore, that was so political. That is why I hate the Academy Awards. I prefer the Golden Globes. People are drunk, they're a little saucy.
Well, and you know it doesn't mean anything.
None of these awards mean a fucking thing.
Disagree.
The Academy Awards is political.
Disagree.
They gave it to Demi Moore because she's old. But looks great.
I don't disagree with that. And they didn't give it to her. She didn't win. By the way,
I thought she won.
She was nominated.
She shouldn't have been nominated.
I don't disagree.
That movie shouldn't have been nominated.
I don't disagree there either.
Neither should Nosferatu.
Was that one nominated?
I don't know. Yes, I think it was.
For
I don't know.
something. It wasn't nominated for
It
Best
was
Picture.
nominated for something, but I just had a vibe about this. That's why I couldn't drag myself to the theater. I was like, they're pushing too hard. You know, when you're on the TikTok and all of a sudden everybody's like, suspect.
Aaron Taylor Johnson played Friedrich Harding, which is the wealthy friend who promptly kicks their asses out because he's tired of her sleepwalking and night terrors and shit.
Dude, that's what you gotta do, man. I don't even know you. Ain't you got no family, sister?
I agree. You know him from 2016's Nocturnal Animals. He was Kick-Ass in the movie Kick-Ass.
Never saw it.
He was in 2009's Nowhere Boy.
Nope.
And in 2014's Godzilla, playing Ford Brody.
Nope.
Good Lord.
He's a stranger to me.
We barely talked about him in this movie.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe played Professor Albin Eberhard von Franz. You know him.
I just feel like he has a fun career.
Absolutely.
He has a fun career. He's the best. Yay, Willem Dafoe. Remember, Mom tried to make me change my son's name to Willem.
Well, did you know his real name is William Dafoe? He changed it to Willem to be interesting.
I guess
there you
so.
go. You know him from Spider-Man in 2002. He played the Green Goblin.
No, I know him from The Life Aquatic.
Oh, God.
One of my favorite Wes Anderson films.
He played Vincent Van Gogh in 2018's At Eternity's Gate.
Unfamiliar.
He was in The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson in 2019, directed by Robert Eggers.
Oh, I didn't know Pattinson's in it.
Absolutely. And he was in The Florida Project in 2017.
What the f*** is that?
That was actually a very depressing movie.
Great.
So there you go. Add to the list. And none of those movies have full frontal nudity, so I don't know what I was doing.
That's a shame. I'm going to write a letter campaign to Wes Anderson because I believe he's been in a couple of Wes Anderson films. So I'm going to demand some nudity for demanding full nudity of Willem Dafoe. I'm going to Google that now.
You should. Well, remember, he was in that Madonna movie, Body of Evidence, where it was supposed to be kind of their version of Basic Instinct. But it was like, rather than just being sexy, it was like they were into like bondage or something. So, good stuff. Check out that good stuff.
All right.
Let's see. And who else we got?
I'm not seeing nudity. I'm not seeing Long and Schlongen.
Long and Schlongen! Let's look at the rating, shall we?
Shall we?
Nosferatu currently has 84% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. You know what the audience gave it?
76.
Very close, 73.
Yeah, it's like a C. I would say it's a C.
Let's see if I can find some top critics here. Wesley Morris. Go ahead.
You're not bringing nothing. You're not bringing anything through. You literally just shoved in something from every vampire, Dracula, Nosferatu. I mean, it's the same fucking story.
I'll tell you what. I thought it was very interesting to look at. You know what I mean? I like the kind of gothic look it was going for. But you're right. I've seen it. Been there, done that. Let's see. Wesley Morris of the New York Times says, setting aside some gratuitous jump scares, Eggers has now made a Dracula movie that's more than an exercise, more than an assertion of talent. There's a vision at work.
And that sounds like a blowjob is at work. What are you trying to get? How is that a review? Come on. Get the that is not a review. How is that a criticism?
That's all.
I mean,
look, I didn't read the whole review. This is just a little snippet. Sweet Jesus. Peter Travers of ABC News says, here's your holiday counter programming ticket to Fear and Trembling, a passion project for Robert Eggers, who creates an atmosphere of creeping dread in which Bill Skarsgård and Lily Rose Depp are to die as the vampire Count and his trickiest victim. So he liked that. Let's see. All of these are positive reviews. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times says, this is a lush and visually arresting and death-splattered psychosexual drama with chilling, memorable set pieces and appropriately outsized performances from a superb cast, including Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe, and Bill Skarsgård. 3.5 out of 4.
This is ridiculous. This is jib-jab.
People love this shit. They loved it. What is your rating, Aaron?
It is nothing new. It is literally not. It's retread. It's not terrible. It's just not. I mean, if you've never seen a vampire movie, then you can go see this. You'll be entertained. I can give you a list of other ones that might be better.
This is definitely a vampire movie if you've never seen one.
If you've never seen one,
here's an example of the genre. Yes. Fair.
Perfect. It was less boring than the Klaus Kinski, but it is twice as long as the original silent one.
It's twice as long as the novel, if we're being honest.
Oh, sweet Jesus. This is a C. The fans of the genre gave it a C, and who am I to argue with that? It is a C. It's nothing new. I mean, it's better than the remake of Psycho, frame by frame. Yeah, what's the point?
It's better than Dracula Dead and Loving It. How about that?
I have not seen that.
With Leslie Nielsen as the titular Dracula.
I will tell you, it's not better than Franklin Jella Dracula. It's not better than Andy Warhol's Dracula. It's not better.
Hang on. Pump the brakes there. Pump the brakes there. You got a bridge too far.
It is better than Gary Oldman, but I love Gary Oldman. It's just his co-stars are shit.
I like
Winona Ryder and my beloved Keanu are just trash in this. I mean, who told Winona she was going to do period pieces? She can barely speak with a regular human accent.
Keanu did like 3 period pieces within a couple of years. He was like doing Shakespeare. I'm like, are you high? Who's casting you for this?
Keanu was shit in Dangerous Liaisons. Yeah. He was shit in a lot of things. He was, I think, around the 90s, he started crawling out of the shithole.
2000.
Then I appreciate him. It might be the 2000s.
It might be.
Then he learned to act, and then I liked him. But no.
Okay, on a 5-point scale, what is your rating? Don't just tell me it's a C. I don't know. We've never done that before.
It's a 70%. It's a 3 out of 5. It's smack dab. It's not. It's beyond emotion. It's ambivalence.
Because a 3 out of 5 is a D, if we're being truthful. So
it's middle of the road. I call it as it lays.
I will say this. They did introduce one thing that is not present in any of the original texts. It's the spasms.
Seizures.
It's the nonstop seizures that are constantly in there. That's a new something, but it's something I could have done without, if I'm being honest.
Because it's an orgasm that becomes a seizure. You're like, dude, you're trying too hard if I have to have a seizure every time. That's too much.
Who are you trying to impress?
Enough is enough.
Sometimes you just want to roll over and go to sleep. Leave me alone.
I just want to read my book.
I think I'll go 3.5. I think a 3 is... I'm half a point above you. This is not lousy. Like you said, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It is.
It's just nothing new.
It's okay.
Why does it exist?
That's how I describe it.
Why does it exist?
Why does it exist? To showcase Lily Rose Depp having conniptions. Is basically what it is.
She's American. I don't even know if she's American, but right now, 2024, she's the #1 seizure actress in the world.
Oh, easily. I didn't find.
Was she nominated for that? For special seizures?
Yes, she should. My kids were very upset that Robbie Williams did not win Best Monkey. So
he didn't have a seizure. Maybe if he had a seizure as a monkey being visited by the Nosferatu.
And I will say, I didn't find her seizures particularly erotic. It wasn't like Saint Maud or something, right? It seemed like she was just.
Oh, that was a good one.
That's different. That's a different level of siege.
Yes.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Any last thoughts before we move on with our lives, Aaron?
No, I'm going to forget it and follow a way of never watch anything called Nosferatu.
Never do it again.
Safe bet.
Again. So, thank you very much. You can find us across some social media. We're still on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram. Yep. We're on TikTok, I guess.
Yes, we are.
We're on YouTube. You could be watching us. You can see all my goods.
My jaunty beret that I'm wearing today.
And my seizure acting.
I changed the style. Seizure acting. Look, now I'm super French with my beret.
That is very
French. Oui.
Absolutely. Les
bon temps roulés.
Yeah.
Oh, now it looks like a Paul Prudhomme hat. Hang on, let me move that back.
That's what we're going for. What was it? It was like Dom DeLuise at some point. Anyway,
they started merging into a single person.
They do. So you can also email us, the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
Dude, my Blue Sky is blowing up. All the cool kids are at Blue Sky. I temporarily put my ex back just so I could complain about a purchase, but now I got to delete it again.
Delete that shit.
I am on Flickr and Tumblr. I am on Threads. I am on the Gram. I am the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I have some art on Artsy and First Dibs, Aaron Doherty, Instant Dreams Gallery. Check it out.
Check out that good stuff. Aaron.
Can't get enough of that stuff.
Just can't get enough of that stuff. As you guys know, we like to include the thoughts and feelings of our friends across the interwebs. Aaron, what you got?
You're supposed to tell me. And then I was going to write it down.
Every time, Aaron. Every time.
All right. Let me go to our Grambo and let me see read my activity. I think we got something here. We got people who are loving on The Mask of the Red Death, who think that our good friend Vincent Price is the best thing since chips and cheese. We got someone else.
Would you mute your goddamn thing?
I don't know how to mute it. But we have
turn the volume down.
We have way too many people enjoying Demon Lover. That's very upsetting to me. And it makes me wonder about all of you. We have one person for Running Man. I think we may have all seen too many movies. So many references come to mind. Okay.
What does that mean? What the hell are you talking about?
That's Jamie Bod Joe Miller. Is that a friend of yours?
Oh, know him well. We go back. We go back a ways.
Craft by Tina is commenting again about My Demon Lover. Yeah, I like this movie. It's a really odd movie to watch, but I like it a lot when I watch it. All right.
I like it a lot when I watch it. That sounds like quite an endorsement, to say the least.
I had some people asking where to watch the remake of Salem's Lot, and I'm like, no, Don't do
You
it.
said no. You don't get that.
You
don't get
want
it.
that. I'm saving you. I'm not going to pass on that information.
Well,
And that's about all our talkedness.
Very cool. Thank you very much for checking that out. Remember, send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions, and we may talk about it on the show. Next week, this is a controversial pick. This is very controversial. We've made jokes about it for years and have never discussed it on the show. We're going to be discussing the controversial cannibal Holocaust. I know. Every time we talked about it, Aaron and I said, it can't be that bad. And then we watch it and we're reminded it is that bad.
We've seen it before. We reviewed it for the B Movie Club and then scrubbed our brain.
We did not do it for the B Movie Club.
Dude, why did I watch it then? Why have I seen this before?
It was on Joe Bob.
Jesus, yep. Jesus, Lord, Jesus. And then I was reading that Eli Roth is remaking it.
He already did.
Green Holocaust. He
the
already
Green
did.
Inferno. It came out 5 years ago.
Green Inferno.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned Green Inferno, and while I was Googling that, it was Eli Roth. That sounds like it went straight to video because I don't remember that coming.
Yeah, it didn't last long. I don't know. It was in theaters, but not for very long. I didn't make much of an indent. No, not at all.
I mean, we'll talk maybe about if it was Blair Witch Kids dropped in the Amazon.
Blair Witch Holocaust. But we'll talk about it.
The cast of the Juliette Lewis show Yellow Jackets, but instead they're sent on an adventure into the Amazon.
What if indeed? Now, I will tell you how to watch this. You can watch it on Peacock with the subscription. It's on Canopy for free.
Yes, that's why I can't cancel the fucking Peacock, because I had to get it for Nosferatu, and then I had to get it for goddamn Cannibal Holocaust.
But let me say this. If you are unfamiliar with this, there's reasons why this is an issue. There are scenes that would be unsettling to, all but the least refined of palates.
No, they really kill animals right in front of you, and it looks like they're messing with them right before they kill them. It
correct.
Is quite horrible and shocking.
That's the issue. The other stuff we can deal with, although some of that, even the fake stuff, can be hard to take. But the actual animal cruelty that occurs in this movie, it made it. It's still banned in some countries, not in America, but in some countries it is still banned to this day. This movie came out in 1979, I believe, 1980. So,
because when they're not torturing and mutilating live animals, then it's a rape-o-rama.
Yes. So it's not just cannibalism that you're dealing with. Frankly, the cannibalism stuff is relatively tame compared to some of the stuff that we've done. It's these other issues. So if you're somebody who's like, you know what, not my cup of tea, I'm not going to watch it, I totally understand, but you should still listen to our podcast and listen to us discuss it. But
in fact, listen to our podcast. Don't watch that movie. I can't believe I watched it for a second time, and it was so much more upsetting the second time.
Correct. But there's a lot of interesting backstory and front story about this movie. Which
the backstory about it is the best part. It's kind of one of these things where it's like an Ed Wood, where we're mixing found footage. They're like, hey, I got a whole roll of people being executed during World War II, or let's throw that in the mix. Oh yeah,
right. So I don't want to go.
If you like seeing dead people and small animals being killed and a lot of good raping, then this is the movie for you.
This is the movie for you.
You can get a shirt on Amazon.
That I believe. What I was just going to say is there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with this movie. It's not just going to be us talking about all the horrible stuff that occurs in it. If it's not your cup of tea, you are forewarned, and you can take a pass. But it's
Trust,
like
us talking about it is so much easier than you watching it.
That is absolutely sure. But anyway, if you've already seen it, or if you're going to watch, if you're brave enough to go down the Amazon and see this the story, send us your scenes.
Story that makes no sense whatsoever.
That's not entirely true. But I will say it is one of the it may be the first found footage film. So there you go. So that's important to notice as well.
I got that going for it.
Which is nice. So send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes. There's no way you have any favorite scenes. But if perchance you have favorite scenes, send them to somebody else. Because I don't want to know what your favorite scenes in this movie is. Okay?
I got a page and a half of notes, so I'm sure you're all dying to hear them. But, there were many times I just closed my eyes.
Yes, you have to.
And I've seen Lucci films.
You've seen who films?
Fulci.
Who's Fulci?
Fulci.
You've seen Fulci films, yes. Anyway, send in your questions and maybe we'll talk about it on the show. So, thank you very much and be well.
Good day.